And I've read a lot over the years about, whether it was fiction, fact, what have you, that there was a lot of you know jealousy over the quote unquote nepotism of the situation. Was that as
But
big a deal as purported to be in places like the Sheets?
um, first of all, you said nepotism like that was real. Ah,
Quote unquote.
uh, I love you. I'm teasing. It, okay. So if you took it, let me ask you something. On a scale of 1 to 10, how harsh do you believe from the sheets? How harsh do you think things were on me from a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, it's depending on whether you take it with a grain of salt or whatever, coming down to the usual hazing to outright physical challenges by some superstars. It sounded pretty darn harsh, to be honest with you.
Yeah, scale of 1 to 10. What do you think?
8.
It was about a 19. But again, that goes back to me just being bewildered by people wanting to be so clueless. Why don't you pay attention to your wrestling? Why don't you pay attention to why the houses aren't sold out? Why don't you pay attention to why you don't want to work an angle with someone or not an angle? Or why did Bill Watts take the mats away from the outside? Or why can the people before before mid car before intermission not jump off the top rope? Or why don't you worry about the fact that sometimes we're doing freaking battle royals in Dothan, freaking Alabama, and and including the janitor, there's 10 people there. How about the time that we wrestled on Christmas Day in Denver, Colorado, in this huge coliseum, and there's 4,000 people there? Do you want to take the ownership of why sometimes we, as a product, sucked, and we're sitting there worried about who gets this and who gets that, which the attitude WCW and WWE, even though everything kind of equals up the same, is absolutely totally different. Because the guys up there don't want you in the locker room if you're not drawing. Because back in then, you got paid on the gate where you were in the match. So they had an incentive to want to do well. Oh, did people still not like certain people? Sure, because like I tell people, and this might not be good, and females, I'm not mad, but I'm just letting you know, wrestlers a lot of times can be overpaid strippers. Have you ever heard of the wrestler hug? The wrestler hug means the only reason I hug you is to find the soft spot in your back so I can stab you. Okay, so I already know that environment. And yes, it was dude, when Sting flipped out, meaning couldn't mean it. One time I actually literally had put my, boots getting ready to went to the restroom, came back, put my shoes in the boot. Someone had broken up a glass bottle and put it in my boots.
Wow.
At that point, you're wondering, what's that hazing? And there are all kinds of horrible stories about that hazing, and that was part of the reason why Sting, pulled the pulled the rookie card off me. He said, no, we're done with that. You stand up, and so I stood up, and then people, people figured it out, because my background, I wasn't a quarterback. I was an
Mhm.
amateur wrestler in the street, blah, blah, blah. And I hated street fighting, but because of who my father was, I had to defend my family's name sometimes, and I tried my hardest not to. But my brother, I can promise you that there are some beasts. There are some beasts in pro wrestling. Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner, Brock Lesnar. Okay, I wouldn't go knocking on any of those guys' doors saying, "Hey, by the way, let's see who's tougher." But I can promise you this much: there's not one of them, if it came to me defending myself, that I would even blink to defend myself with. So, and people kind of get the stories they've heard, right? So, and that's the other irony about it, right? Like, I had people talking crap about me that got tied up. I'm gonna talk bad of him. Okay, I'm sorry. Stop it. Shut up, right? But some of those people that happen to also become. Okay, this may tell you my personality the best. Some of those people that got tied up like a pretzel became some of my most important mentors. Because once they stopped hating me, once it became business, they wanted to elevate me. And I was like, thank you, sir. Yes sir, no sir. I still kept my respect for my elders, and elders isn't age. Elders is the years that you've been in the business.